Hi everyone, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and this is our Facebook Live, our weekly Facebook Live on the Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. This is our free support group where you can get tips and information and support on everything psychic protection, empath sensitivity issues, unwanted paranormal activity, and everything in between. So we are out here on the Kansas prairie. This is where I live, this is where I work, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right in with our topic. And we usually have a group of people, a little crowd that joins us every class online. And so I'm just watching as people join us. And as you join, if you could say where you're joining us from and how you're doing today. So we have recently switched our Facebook Lives from once a month to once a week. And we're going to keep doing it that way for the time being until I receive intuitive guidance to do it differently. So it is a little windier than I would prefer, and so that does excuse me, that does sometimes affect the sound, so I hope that you're able to hear me okay. I'm trying to really project. There's just something really wonderful about doing these videos outside, and I just like the energy of doing it this way, and you get to enjoy the trees and the sunshine behind me. So here we go. So our topic, we do have an official topic for this Facebook Live today. Our topic is, I'm just laughing at myself. I apologize in advance. I have this whole page of notes written on a piece of scrap paper because I have so much that I want to say, and I will stick with our topic more if I use my notes, so you'll have to pardon me. So the topic for today is 2 things you must do to make it through a severe psychic attack. Okay? And just a reminder as you join, if you can tell us where you're joining from and how you're doing today. And this is also our weekly Q&A, so if you have any questions for me, feel free to type them in the comments. Okay, so 2 things you must do in order to make it through a severe psychic attack. So, actually, I'm just going to tell you guys today, I was just going to do like a little show and tell with my book, Darkness Disguised as Light, but I decided to put that off a little bit because last night as I was going to bed, I just actually I was shutting down my computer for the evening. I had just finished work, and all of a sudden, and I was thinking about the Facebook Live tonight and that I was going to show and tell my book. And I was thinking about, like, my mind just went on this little journey, and I was thinking about how the severe psychic attack that I went through a couple years ago changed me, and what I had to do, there's my landlord, hey, what I had to do to get through it. And what I've observed about some patterns with many of the clients that I've worked with over the past few years since then. And so my mind went on this little journey and went on this little brain loop. And I was like, there are some things that I want those clients who are going through the really severe issues, that I want these clients to know about. And I tell each person individually, right? I tell them these things, but I kind of feel like a broken record, because here's the thing, is a lot of times when you're going through those severe circumstances, it is kind of hard for you to hear the hard stuff. So that's why I want to just put this out there to all of you so you'll know about this. You know, maybe you're recovering from a severe psychic attack, or maybe you're in the middle of it. Maybe you haven't had one, but maybe something, God forbid, might happen in the future, and you'll be more prepared. Hey, Lynn, so good to see you. And tell us where you're joining from. Usually when people join, they say hello and where they're joining from. So type. Okay. And so, Lynn, you're new. Just to let you know that I answer general questions on the weekly Q&A, but I don't do personal readings. So I don't answer your individual situation. We do that in a private one-on-one session, a paid session. But I do answer all sorts of general questions about psychic protection, any and all kinds of situations. Okay, so let's just recap what a psychic attack is, in case there's anybody watching this who isn't really totally clear on what that is. And I do have other videos where I do explain that more in depth, so you can take a look at the Psychic Protection Sanctuary YouTube channel and scroll through the Psychic Protection playlist, and you'll see some videos where I go really in depth about the different kinds of psychic attacks. But just generally speaking, a psychic attack is when someone is sending you negative energy. Now, they might be sending it intentionally and fully aware, or unintentionally, in that they're having very strong emotions and thoughts and opinions about you, but they don't have an understanding of how powerful their thoughts and emotions are, and how that creates energy, and how that can actually act as a psychic attack. So whether it's being sent intentionally or unintentionally, it still has a challenging effect on you. And it can be received as feeling overwhelmed, feeling emotional, like literally feeling like you're under attack, feeling depressed, anxious, having bouts of bad luck, accidents that like an unusual amount of accidents, and there's a whole lot, and also unwanted paranormal activity can occur as well. Now, a psychic attack can also be initiated by a spiritual entity. So not just a person sending you negative energy, but there could be a spirit or a spiritual being, an evil spirit. There's a whole list of different things that are in the spiritual realm that, for a variety of reasons, might have it out for you. Or you could have just been at the wrong place at the wrong time, or you moved into a house that was on their territory. I mean, there's a million reasons. And they're pissed at you, and they are attacking you and causing, things to fly around your room, or causing you to have scary situations at night. There's a whole list of different things that could happen. And again, watch some of my other videos and I go into that in depth. So naturally, these are some pretty intense things that I'm talking about, and I've been through these kinds of things, and so I know firsthand that it can be terrifying, it can be overwhelming, and even just minor psychic attacks can be confusing and scary and overwhelming, and cause anxiety and depression and all sorts of stuff, even the minor ones. So like I said, I've been through some very severe psychic attack situations, and I've also helped a lot of clients with these kinds of scenarios. And as I think back to and I would say the scenario that I went through a couple years ago that I write about in my book, Darkness Disguised as Light, that was by far, out of the handful of scary paranormal things that I've had happen and psychic attacks that I've experienced, the things that I went through a couple years ago, let's see, it's 2018 now, so in 2016, those were by far the most frightening. And that period of time was where I learned what I'm going to share with you now. And it was really solidified even more and more by making the observations about my clients, over the past couple of years as well. Okay, so here I'm going to look at my notes. So again, our topic is the 2 things that you must do to make it through a severe psychic attack. So I hope that no one I hope that no one goes through a severe psychic attack, first of all. But the reality is that some of you will, and otherwise I wouldn't even be here. Okay. But I'm gonna just ask you, without going too much into the emotions, don't dive in head first and make it too severe for yourself. But I just want you to imagine, just like imagine, but don't really put yourself in it. Okay, just imagine that you are experiencing the most confusing and terrifying experience of your life, and there's all sorts of crazy things going on, and a lot of people in your life don't believe you, and they don't understand what's happening, and so you feel alone. And perhaps there's a spiritual being, or there's a person who has it out for you, and it is freaking terrifying. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you, but these are the kinds of situations that I'm talking about, with people going through, like, you know, the stuff of horror movies. Okay. First of all, before I get into the 2 things, I want you to know that if you are going through something like that, you can make it through. I'm here to tell you this. I made it through. Okay. And I didn't have anybody like me. I didn't have any support, which is why I started doing the work that I'm doing, because it's terrible to go through alone. So terrible. So first of all, you can make it through, and you will. Okay. And I'm here to give you some tough love and tell you these 2 main things that you are gonna have to do in order to make it through one of these severe types of situations. And again, I'm not hoping these kinds of situations on anybody. I hope if you're watching this, it's because you have something mild going on and you want to just know how to clear it, and you want to just know about this topic just in case, but you don't ever need it. That would make me so happy. So happy. But for those of you who are going through the severe stuff, these are the things that you are just gonna have to do. And this is Maya, Mama Maya, giving you some freaking tough love right now. Okay? So you might even want to pull out a pen and paper right now. These might seem obvious, these 2 things that I'm going to tell you, but they're not obvious when you're in the middle of a shitstorm of a psychic attack. It's just not obvious. Okay? All right, so grab your pen. Number 1 thing that you are gonna have to do to get yourself out of a psychic attack. I'm just gonna give you an aside right here. I will be able to help you, okay? But you're ultimately going to have to be the one who steps up. And that's related to this number 1 here. In order to make it through, in order to get to the other side of a severe psychic attack, you are going to have to dive deep inside and find inner strength that you never knew you had. You're going to have to find strength that you never knew you had. If you're in the middle of something severe right now, you might be feeling like you are stretched to your limit of what you can handle. Even psychologically, a lot of psychic attacks will push you to the limit psychologically, where you're even on the verge of a breakdown. Now, I want to clarify, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a therapist, but I can say that from my own specialization, working with psychic protection and having experienced it, I know firsthand, in those severe circumstances, you will be pushed to the brink, okay, to where you feel like you're losing it, and you're gonna have to go deeper and find and claim strength that you didn't even know was there. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like if you got stranded on a desert island and you were the only person, and you were, you had some phobias. You were afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. You were afraid of heights, maybe a little bit afraid of swimming, like not real comfortable with water. You know, lots of things that you were uncomfortable with doing out there, but you had to, in order to survive, you had to be able to climb some rocks. You had to be able to do some swimming to get to the other side. You had to traverse, you know, walk up against a cliff in order to get to a safe area. And you're looking down and it's a really far distance and you're freaking terrified. And if you weren't stranded, and if it wasn't like a life or death, you sure as hell wouldn't freaking be up that high, because you were afraid of heights, right? So you'd be like, no thanks, I'm not doing any of, you know, like if you're just hanging out with friends, no, I'm not going to do any of that climbing stuff with you guys, right? But when it is life or death, then you do it. You find that strength somewhere and that adrenaline, and you make that shit happen so that you can get to the other side. Now, literally, you're not going to be climbing when you're going through a psychic attack, but I'm using this as an analogy of that fear that comes up, and how you literally have to find, you have to move through the fear, you have to find strength, you have to find inner power that you didn't even know was there, okay? You have to, as a part of this number one here, you have to learn to trust yourself. You have to learn to trust yourself. And I was just having a conversation with a colleague about an hour ago that so many people, including, and we were talking about psychic attack and spiritual attachments and that sort of thing, but just people in general, it seems like we want to look to others to get the answer. And I understand you're looking to me for some answers, and I think that's important to do it first, especially when you're in totally uncharted territory, right? But then ultimately, you are going to have to trust yourself. What my colleague and I were talking about is how people are too much looking to others for all of their answers. And so they get one answer from one person, and they get, 15 different answers from 15 different spiritual gurus, and they're not sure what to do, right? So as a part of this step number one, finding your inner strength, part of that is learning to trust yourself. Finally trust yourself. Honestly, in this culture, we're taught to give our power away, whether it's to, and that other people know more than we do, whether it's our boss, our priest, our pastor, our teacher, our parents, like they all supposedly know more than us, or the government or whoever, they always know more than us. And so we're just so unsure. But you have to find your inner strength and look within and find your answers, find the truth. And I will support you in that. That's, if you ever come to me for assistance, I'm going to be helping you to get to that point. Okay. And the final part of point 1 is as a part of finding your inner power. And this is super important. If there's unwanted paranormal activity, I've got a little hair tickling my forehead. If you're experiencing unwanted paranormal activity, then what I see so often is people struggling to find their inner power, to step up into their power, but they have the belief that that spiritual entity, whether it's a demon that they're dealing with or some other kind of spiritual creature, or a person who's sending them malevolent energy, the person under attack has a belief that the other party is more powerful than they are. And beliefs are everything, people. Beliefs are everything. If you believe that it is more powerful than you, then it is. And let me tell you, most of psychic attack is what I call psychological psychic attack. It is psychological warfare. It is psychological manipulation. And the majority of the attack is to scare you so that you will believe that it is more powerful than you are. And when you believe that it is more powerful than you are, then you do not step up into your power. You see what I'm saying? And now, it's easier said than done. Just step up into your power. But this is going to be probably, if not the hardest thing that you do in your entire life. It will be one of the top most difficult things that you do in your entire life, is finally stepping up into your power, claiming your sovereignty, and truly believing and knowing and proclaiming that you are a powerful spiritual being, and that motherfucker, whatever kind of entity is trying to mess with your life, it no longer has power over you. I work with so many clients that will send me messages and they'll say, well, the entity is telling me this, the entity is telling me that, the entity is telling me this, it's telling me that. Stop listening to what the entity is telling you. Okay? You're giving it power. Stop that. And you honestly believe that what it's telling you is the truth. It's smoke and mirrors, manipulation. Okay? I can't emphasize that anymore. But the thing is that oftentimes when people are in the middle of that loop where they're in the middle of being attacked, they can't see it because their energy is being so messed with, and it really scrambles your brains when you're going through an attack like that where it's so strongly psychological. Okay, and those entity attacks that I've observed with clients, like I said, it's all about psychological manipulation, getting the person to believe that the entity is more powerful than they are, and getting them to believe all sorts of things so that they will feel powerless. And that's what the attack is all about. So if you were to step up into your power and claim your strength, claim your sovereignty, then what you would find out is that the entity or the psychic attack is not as powerful as it seemed. Now, don't get me wrong. Psychic attacks can be harmful and they can be very powerful, but a great deal of it has to do with psychological manipulation, and you need to understand that. So the number one thing that I would tell people that you absolutely have to do if you are ever going to make it through a severe psychic attack, you have to find your inner strength, and you have to claim it, and you have to trust yourself. Okay? And I see we have some good comments, and I'm going to get to those in just a little bit because I am on a roll right now. And we're going to go on to number 2 here. But if anyone else has questions or comments, then now is a good time to type while I'm going over our number 2 on the list. Okay, so number 2 out of the 2 things that you absolutely have to do if you're ever going to make it to the other side of a severe psychic attack, you have to be committed, like 1000% committed to doing whatever it takes to clear that psychic attack. And so often when people come to me with severe circumstances, and understandably so, they feel emotionally and energetically beaten down, discouraged, like they want to give up, they want to stop trying, they're frustrated because some people have gone to, various different healers. Some people have been under attack for years, whether it's been brief or a long period of time. It's still frustrating, overwhelming, exhausting. And so often, and I totally get it, people want a quickie fix. They want like McDonald's drive-through. Can you give me a magical spell, or can you just clear this for me? And I do a lot of shamanic healing, and I do entity releasement, and I do all sorts of clearing for people. But the ultimate work, okay, so that's just part of it. The ultimate work is that you have to be 1000% committed to doing whatever it takes. And if it's a severe psychic attack, and I'm just going to tell you the truth here, anyone who's under severe psychic attack, I have never seen a quick fix. Never. I've seen plenty of situations be resolved after months of commitment and work. Okay? But I've never seen instant, it's just gone. Okay? I've seen a lot of people who wanted that, and I totally get it. I totally understand. And also I've seen places on the internet where they, healers that claim that they can 100% resolve your psychic attack situation in one session. And guess what? I end up getting a lot of those clients coming to me because their situation, because they paid like $1,000 and their situation did not go away in, one little snap of their fingers or one little quickie solution. It really does not work that way. I wish that it did. But that's not what my observation has been. So if anyone tells you, if you pay them $20,000, they will get rid of your issue instantly, they're probably a snake oil salesman. Okay. It's probably a scam. Maybe it's not. I would love to hear about, if there's something like that, that's not a scam. I would be so happy. But just be aware of that. So when I say that you absolutely have to be committed to doing whatever it takes, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you book a consultation with me, and I do even as short as 30 minutes so that we can target, really zero in on what's going on, and I can give you some tips. And I do longer sessions as well, but for those who just want to, step in, get some targeted advice, I intuitively do an evaluation of what's going on, and then I intuitively evaluate what are the best solutions. And oftentimes, I'll see a lot of actions and tools that you can do on your own that are a part of your daily clearing and spiritual practice. Okay? And so when I say that you absolutely have to be committed to doing whatever it takes, it means that, I'm going to read from my list here, it means that you're probably going to have to start doing a daily spiritual practice, like religiously, no pun intended. You're going to have to be doing it every single day, if not twice a day, if not multiple times a day, in order to develop your relationship with your spiritual support team, your guides and your angels. Because how can you expect them to just the reality is that if you call on them when you're in a major crazy psychic attack situation and you have not developed any relationship with them, yes, you might get some help, but you're going to get a lot more help if you have nurtured your relationship with your spiritual protection team. So you're going to have a daily spiritual practice. You're going to have to do daily clearing on yourself and learn how to do that. You might also have to remove some people, habits, situations, personal practices, locations, etc. And when I say like locations, I have worked with people who have lived at locations, at homes that had such a history of horrible spiritual activity, satanic practices on the property with past people who lived there, and all sorts of horrible things, to where, the best solution for them was to move. And so literally whatever it takes, okay, you're going to have to be willing to do whatever it takes. If someone is engaging in substance addiction practices, you're going to have to go to the clinic. You're going to have to work on your recovery, because when the addiction is active, and even afterwards, you are a prime target for psychic attack. It's just the truth. So anything that's making you more vulnerable to psychic attack. And by the way, I do have a quiz on my website, www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. And all you have to do is type in your email address and click submit. And then you'll automatically get sent a quiz. Are you vulnerable to psychic attack? And by having access to that quiz, you'll be able to see a humongous list of all of the things that can make you more vulnerable to psychic attack. And the idea is you want to remove some of those vulnerabilities. So you have to be willing to do whatever it takes, removing anything that's going to make you more vulnerable. Spending months doing daily clearing, daily protection protocols, and making it a part of your regular routines like you would brushing your teeth. Okay? And so it'll be a period of detox, prayer, strengthening, working on your daily protection. And so, like, if someone starts to practice like burning frankincense, and they do it for a couple of days, and then they message me and they say, it didn't work. I'm like, seriously, you're under a severe attack. You're going to have to do this for 6 months, every day, twice a day, or whatever. So you're going to have to do whatever it takes, and it's going to take some work. Okay? So let's recap. So for those going through severe psychic attack situations, these are the 2 things that you absolutely must do in order to make it to the other side of the psychic attack. You have to find your inner strength, claim your inner strength, even more than you knew that you had. Trust yourself and claim sovereignty over, claim sovereignty, claim your power over whatever this thing is. Okay, you have to do it. Like I was giving the analogy about being stranded on a desert island. You know, I'm afraid of heights, but if I had to climb something in order to save my life, I would be so freaking scared, but I would do it. Because it's like, if you're in a situation where you don't have a choice, you have to move past the fear. You have to do it. And it's like this: you have to step up. Your society has taught you to be to keep yourself small. You will have to step up. You'll have no other choice. You have to, even if it's uncomfortable, scary, whatever, you have to step up into your power. And number two, you have to be committed to doing whatever it takes, and for however long. And you will get to the other side. And here's the thing. I'll just repeat what I said before. It will likely be the most difficult thing that you ever go through in your entire life. And if it's not the most difficult thing, it will be one of the top few. And guaranteed, once you get through it, you will be stronger, so much stronger. And you will not be the person that you were before. You'll be better. You will be more powerful, stronger. I'm going to tell you guys, before I get to your questions and comments, that because I was just on my soapbox today. Usually I'm engaging back and forth a little bit more. I've thought many times about the fact that before I went through the crazy intense psychic attack that I went through a couple years ago, I might have seemed like a confident person. I'd been a spiritual teacher for many years. I was doing energy healing sessions. I was teaching classes. And on the surface, I probably looked pretty confident and secure. And in a lot of ways I was. But I had this major insecure streak underneath. And how it was reflected out into the world was that I was afraid to, like, I was always super careful. Like, I rarely would speak up about anything that would be even semi-controversial, because I was so worried about making waves. And it was like, it was coming from this inner insecurity that I had. And I didn't want to make people upset with me. I just was so afraid of making waves. And so I really never took a big stand about really anything. There were a few things that I did take sort of a stand on. But mostly when it came to sharing my opinions on Facebook or anywhere else, I was always wanting to walk the middle ground because I didn't want to piss anybody off. But what happened to me when I went through the psychic attack a couple years ago is that I remember sitting on my bed. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was too afraid to go to sleep. And I remember, oh my, the birds are going crazy. I was too afraid to go to sleep. During that psychic attack period, I was attacked at night a couple of times. And so I was afraid to go to sleep. And I was praying. And I was saying, you know, please God, I don't know how to clear this out. I can't find anyone who can tell me how to clear it out. The regular standard psychic protection techniques that are popular, they're not working. And I'm using all of the strength that I have. I don't know what else to do. And I remember feeling like I was like trying to go within and like, is there any more strength in there? I don't know how to be any stronger. Like, I felt like I was on the verge of a breakdown. I was just so terrified. And a lot of people in my spiritual community had unfriended and blocked me because I was talking about, when I was messaging people, telling them what was going on with me, asking for help. And they just threw up walls. They said, that due to the law of attraction, I had attracted this to myself, that I must have had negative energy. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent on that. That was a pile of crap. Very, very not love and light of them to say stuff like that, and to not be supportive to someone going through something so traumatic. But so suffice it to say, I was going through all of this mostly alone, with a little bit of support system, but not much. And I'm praying to God for support. And in that moment, sitting on my bed, I had no other choice but to find power that I didn't even know that I had. And I was pushed way beyond. Like, imagine you're running a marathon and you are pushed beyond, like, you end up having to run longer and harder than you even were capable of doing before, because you had to, right? So it was like that. And I noticed that there was a change in my personality afterwards. The specific change was that because I had been like put through the fire in such an intense way, the thing that was changed was that in that stream of insecurity under the surface, it was gone. It was gone. And I started speaking up about things that were important to me, whether it was about psychic protection or other issues. And I just didn't give a shit if people agreed with me or not. I was going to speak up. And so I started speaking up about psychic protection issues. And there were a lot of people in the love and light community that shunned me and continued to block me and won't talk to me. And in the past, that would have freaked me out because of that inner insecurity. But going through what I went through, so terrifying, that terrifying situation, it caused me to find strength that I didn't know that I had. And it obliterated all of that insecurity that I used to have. Like, it's gone. It is just so gone now. Okay, so, and I haven't shared that with that many people, so I just kind of wanted to put that out there, that that was a major change for me. So when you see me, I'm pretty vocal on social media now. When you see me doing that, like, speaking up about whatever, that's a big deal for me, because I didn't used to do that. And it's a direct result of me finding strength through the situation that I went through. So anyway, okay, Melissa is saying, I agree. When attacks happen, you do feel hopeless, but you have to keep going, keep fighting. Yeah, and easier said than done. I totally get it why people want to just throw in the towel. I mean, I really believe for a lot of people, if it's a severe, not a mild, easy to clear situation, but a severe situation, will likely be one of the most negative, memorable things of their entire life. And definitely not easy. And Melissa is also saying, yes, yes, yes. My friend supposedly has an attachment. A woman is telling her that she has to go see her for X, Y, and Z to fix it. I told her that she could take care of it if she... Let's see if I can read the rest. That she could take care of it if she had the tools. That every single thing this woman was doing, she could do herself. Yes, I believe very firmly in that. And I do one-on-one sessions, but I actually don't, it's not the primary thing that I suggest all the time. If someone's going through a really severe situation, the reality is a lot of times they do need at least one session just to help them get their footing. But then after that, it should be about learning how to do these tools yourself, because you can't have whoever the healer or the shaman is, like, they can't go home and watch over you at night while you're sleeping every night and protect you. You know, you have to learn these things for yourself. Very, very important. So that's why I do videos like this, and I'm just so passionate about educating. Hello, Marietta. Melissa is asking, will this video be on YouTube? I'd like my friend to listen to it. Yes. Hi, Melissa's friend. Yes. So these videos on Facebook Live are always uploaded to YouTube, either the very same day or by the next day. And so all you have to do is go to youtube.com and type in the search bar, Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and then be sure to click subscribe. And I think there's a little bell that you have to click as well to get notifications when a new episode drops. Okay, and Shantae, I don't know if you're waving or raising your hand, but let me know if you have a question. Okay. Yeah, I like the hand little picture that we have now, but sometimes I don't know if you're raising your hand or just waving. And Shantae says, thank you for sharing. Just started to come out of my shell by speaking my opinions as well. Watch out, world. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Marietta says, thank you for sharing. You are welcome. That shit that I went through, like, totally shifted my trajectory. I was already working as a spiritual teacher and an energy healer, but I was taking, like, the safe route. I was, like I said, never making any waves. After I went through that situation a couple years ago, I realized that I had to step up and do some more difficult work. And so here we are. But I'm pretty passionate about it. And I think that's part of why I went through what I went through. And that, because it honestly, I mean, let's just be real here. If you haven't personally gone through something, you can be there for someone and you can have compassion for them and you can hold space for them and you can try to help them, but you don't really understand, right? Whatever it is, if it's a certain kind of illness or a certain kind of loss or whatever, or a psychic attack. And I've been through it. And not just once, but I refer to the situation a couple years ago a lot because that was the most intense. And it caused me to write the book that I recently put out. So if you do want to read more about my story and about what happened, you can go on Amazon and you can actually just type in my name and you'll find it. So it's my name is Maya, and then last name Z as in zebra, Ahira, Zahira, Maya Zahira, and the name of the book is Darkness Disguised as Light: The Hidden Truth About Psychic Protection and the Illusion Matrix. It's a really long title, but the main part of the title is Darkness Disguised as Light. There's another book by that same title from several years ago by someone else. So just make sure you're paying attention when you click order. But if you want to know more about the story of various different psychic attacks that I went through, a lot of people have said it's a really interesting book. It's hard to know when, like, it was hard when I put the book out there. I'm like, well, I think it doesn't suck. I think it's a good book, but you know, when you've created something yourself, you don't really know. Like, I don't know, is it any good? But people have really said that they read it in 3 days. They couldn't put it down. They learned a lot from it and found it really interesting. So let's see, a couple more. Melissa, I feel the same way. Literally gone through the fire. It makes you stronger. Kudos to you. Yeah, high five, Melissa. Kudos to you too, girl. I get it. And Shantae, wave. You were waving. All right, well, I'm waving back. Yeah. So even when we're dealing with these really intense issues like psychic protection, psychic attack, I do like to keep some levity in my life and, you know, have fun and be relaxed, and because life can be really serious sometimes. And part of the reason why I moved out to the country, out on the Kansas prairie. Oh, look, there's my cat right there. I don't know if you can see her. I just noticed. One of the reasons why I moved out here was because the nature of this work is so intense and so serious that I really needed a deeply healing space for myself so that I could be renewed constantly to be able to keep being of service. And also those people who do come out here to my place, who live local to Kansas City, this is where I do my sessions. So it's a very powerfully protected place, and I feel blessed to be here. So, so wonderful that all of you joined us this evening. And also just a shout out to anybody watching the replay. And you know where to find me. You can find me on our Facebook group, which is it really is intended as a free support group for the community. So you can head on over there if you're watching the replay. Those of you who are watching live, you're already there, but head on over there to Facebook group, onto Facebook.com, and then in the search bar type in Psychic Protection Sanctuary and click on the group, not the page. So the group is the support group, and it's private, so you can you know, post your questions and comments and situations, and only people in the group can see it. And remember, you can go to my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com, and on there you can schedule a one-on-one session, and I also have 2 group programs. Sometimes I'm enrolling students for both, and sometimes it's just one or the other. So take a look at those. There's a Psychic Protection Mentorship Program, and there's also a Sacred Healing Circle Personal Development Group. So you can also email me on my website as well. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to direct you to what would be the best direction for you. And lastly, there are like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of free videos, really good juicy stuff on my YouTube channel. So head over there, click subscribe, Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and I love sharing as much as I can with the community. So I hope you'll go over there, watch the videos, and get all the information that you need. Thanks again, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you all next Monday. I don't know what we're going to cover yet, but I will figure it out. You can always send me your, or post your topic requests and or questions ahead of time, and I always keep those in consideration for whatever I cover in our video. Everybody have a beautiful evening, and Melissa, I look forward to connecting with your friend. Everybody have a beautiful evening. Until next time, all my love.